Oh, very good initiate. But I think you're doing it with the wrong hand.
You think?
Okay, we are the Aryan Brotherhood, and to celebrate this, I've made a tattoo. Look at this.
Oh, it's very good, but I think it's some mistake here. I think it's incorrect and it's unwashable marker here.
2 minutes later.
This is correct. Next in line is Vyatka. Let's start with its permanent ruler, Vladimir III. Volodya was born in 1917 in the family of Grand Duke Kirill, grandson of Aleksandr II. After the Bolsheviks came to power in Russia and killed the royal family, a difficult situation arose in the house of Romanov. Two branches claimed the leadership of the house, the Kirillovichi, to which Vladimir belonged, and the Nikolaevichi, from the commander-in-chief of the First World War, Nikolai Nikolaevich. Fuel was added to the fire by the fact that in 1924 Kirill, Vladimir's father, declared himself emperor. Vladimir grew in such an atmosphere of confrontation between relatives. The future ruler of Vyatka spent his youth in France. During the Second World War, the Nazis really wanted to use Vladimir to fight the Bolsheviks. There was even a plan to make him the ruler of Ukraine, but Vladimir did not like these ideas. All he did was call for a crusade against Bolshevism. However, Volodya published such appeals throughout his life. He died in 1992. Now let's quickly run through the politicians of Vyatka. Roman Gul, a writer, a White Guard member, a university student who, as a result of a Gul attack, ends up in a hospital where he is illegally transplanted with organs from one of the strongest ghouls in order to save his life. Oh wait, it's Kaneki Ken. Let's first talk about his biography. But not me who will be telling his biography. The man himself can do the work.
Я коренной пензяк. Родился я в 1896 году. Отец мой был помещик Пензенской губернии и в то же самое время нотариус города Пензы. Окончил я Пензенскую первую мужскую гимназию. В 1916 году я был мобилизован, как все студенты моего возраста. И вот из Пензы с группой друзей близких мы уехали в Белую армию. Поступили в добровольческую армию генерала Корнилова. Корнилова я там узнал лично. Приезжал к Корнилову несколько раз с докладами. Стало быть, проделали этот тяжелый, легендарный ледяной поход.
Later, he emigrated to Germany. In 1933, he was imprisoned by the Nazis in a concentration camp, but after 6 months, he was released to France. During the German occupation of France, hiding from arrest, he lived on a farm in the south of France, worked at a glass factory. After the war, he left for the United States of America, where he died in 1986, mirroring the date of his birth. Once on this channel I already talked about Boris Savinkov and his books, The Pale Horse, The Black Horse. After reading these works, I accidentally came across the book The Crimson Horse by Gul. I read it and then all of the other books by this author. His books are autobiographical. Almost everything that I have just told you about his biography was reflected in his books. I hope that someday I will be able to write a book called The Last Horse or The White Horse. I hate this whiskey. The time has come for Vasily Shulgin. He was born on January 1st, 1878, in Kiev, to a family of hereditary nobles. He received a law degree from a Kiev university. At the beginning of the 20th century, he joined the right-wing monarchist circles, and he was a member of the right-wing monarchist party, participant of the 2nd, 3rd and 4th State Dumas. I believe, and this is purely a guess, that he was a participant in the conspiracy to abdicate Nicholas II. The conspiracy itself definitely happened. Many Grand Dukes, army generals, and also the head of the Oktyabrist Guchkov were involved in it. This is how absurd it turned out. Convinced monarchist Shulgin personally accepted the abdication of Emperor Nicholas II on February 2nd, 1917. This alone is enough to go down in history, but Shulgin did not stop there. When the provisional government came to power, Vasily treated it ambiguously. On one hand, he did not understand why the provisional government was sharing power with the Petrograd Workers' Council. On the other hand, he liked the slogan, "War to the victorious end." He probably supported Kornilov's putsch in the summer of 1917. He did not appreciate the Bolsheviks' rise to power and went south to help the White movement. Shulgin's main merit during the Civil War was the original concept of the White cause that he developed, for the implementation of which he did a lot, including proving the moral superiority of the White Guard. Shulgin idealized the White Guard in his article. An officer who saw a soldier robbing and did not stop him is a finished man. He has lost his honor, he is no longer white, he is dirty. The Whites kill only in battle. Whoever pinned the wounded, whoever shot the prisoner, he is deprived of honor. He is not white, he is an executioner. Whites are not murderers, they are warriors. After the Civil War, he lived in Yugoslavia. When Hitler's troops arrived there, Shulgin did not support them. He recalled that, "I was not able to say a single word to a single German during the entire war." After the Second World War, he was captured by the Soviet secret services, and it seems that he was to be executed. He was in the White Guard, a lot of anti-communist articles, but he was very lucky. In 1946, the death penalty was abolished in the USSR, and I remind you that in 1950 it was returned to shoot Voznesensky and the other Leningraders, whom we talked about in the last video. In short, he was given a sentence and was released under the amnesty in 1956. Vasily Shulgin died in 1976 in Vladimir, having lived 98 eventful years.
Welcome to the Gulag. If you survive, you earn your freedom.
Solzhenitsyn Aleksandr Isayevich, you're next. Born in 1918, childhood, as you can easily guess, was difficult. At school, he became seriously interested in communist ideas. After school, he entered the university, Faculty of Mathematics. During the Great Patriotic War, he volunteered for the front, received several medals for his service. At the front, Solzhenitsyn continued to be interested in public life, but became critical of Stalin for distorting Leninism. In letters to his old friend Nikolai Vitkevich, he spoke abusively about Godfather, by which Stalin was guest, kept in his personal belongings a resolution drawn up together with Vitkevich, in which he compared Stalin's order with the serfdom and spoke of creating an organization after the war to restore the so-called Leninist norms. The result? 8 years in forced labor camps. His imprisonment was kinda strange. He spent almost his entire term in Moscow, and when he was taken to the Kazakhstan for the last 3 years, he was made a foreman. In Gulag, also, he was twice freed from the cancerous growths. So it is difficult to call his imprisonment unbearable and terrible. Under Khrushchev, Solzhenitsyn was published, but under Brezhnev the situation escalated. Alexander, in the result, became an active dissident. In 1967, secretly in the USSR and openly in the West, he published the Gulag Archipelago. Where did this book come from if Solzhenitsyn himself spent his imprisonment quite normally? The fact is that in the mid-50s, people who had experienced imprisonment in the Gulag actively sent Aleksandr Isayevich letters describing the details of their imprisonment. The result was a large collective image, which was reflected in the book. This is the main problem of the book, the extrapolation of the experience of specific individuals to the general Gulag system. To sum it up, Solzhenitsyn aggravated the scale of repressions for a more powerful picture in terms of artistic value. Nevertheless, in 1970, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature. I think it was a political gesture. In March 1974, Solzhenitsyn was stripped of his USSR citizenship and expelled to the West. Until the mid-90s, he lived with his family in the United States. In 1994, he moved back to Russia and died in 2008. Again, our tier list, I think Vyatka is a solid A. Oh, you watched this far. Thank you, thank you. And don't forget to subscribe, brother. If we hit 100 subscribers, I will make a special video. I decided to combine two national republics in one video, Tatarstan and Bashkortostan. The thing is that neither the Tatars or the Bashkirs have a focus tree. Instead of talking about uninteresting and insignificant leaders, I will tell you about these two republics in general. The history of these people is incredibly similar. At the beginning of the millennium, the tribes of Kipchaks, Turks, Magyars, and Pechenyaks came to the fertile territory near the Volga River. Those who were too lazy to go further settled in these places. The Bashkirs were mainly tribal, and the Tatars created the Volga Bulgaria and adopted Islam. Like Rus, these territories were captured by the Mongols in the 13th century and ruled them until the 16th century. Then the Tatars and Bashkirs were captured by Russia. It is important to know that the region was subject to constant national uprisings in the 18th and 19th century. At the same time, Tatars, Bashkirs, and Russians coexisted quite peacefully with each other. After 1918, two new republics became part of the USSR, Tatarstan and Bashkortostan. In the 1930s, there were repressions during the Great Patriotic War. More than 1 million people of these nationalities went to the front. Only half of them returned. And in 20th century, oil was found here. After the collapse of the USSR, the Tatars wanted to separate, following the example of Chechnya. But this did not work out, since Tatarstan's state border at that time was only with the Russian Federation. I also have a close Tatar friend, his name is Pavel. He loves theater, he has his own rap group, and he is also a deeply closeted homosexual. I also have a Bashkir friend, Violetta, a beautiful woman. She loves coffee and coffee culture, traveling, and works in the field of education. So you see, the USSR has long been gone, but the friendship of people is still blooming. If you've ever wondered what's the differences between these two people, here's an example. The Bashkir eats meat first, then noodle soup. The Tatar eats soup first, then meat. That's pretty much all the differences. About our tier list, I don't think I need to explain anything. D tier, Tatarstan and Bashkortostan. Another warlord without focus is Gyn. The head of this institution is Mikhail Antipin. He was born in 1925 near Chelyabinsk and worked as a tractor driver. He was called up to the front in 1943 as a machine gunner. When crossing the Pripyat River, he suppressed 2 firing points with machine gun fire and disabled 2 enemy mortar crews. While repelling the enemy counterattack on September 29, he destroyed up to 40 enemy soldiers and officers. By decree of the Presidium of the Supreme Soviet of the USSR, Guard Red Army soldier Antipin Mikhail Ivanovich was awarded the title of Hero of the Soviet Union with the award of the Order of Lenin and the Gold Star Medal. He died in 1995, and I have no idea why he was chosen to lead this monastic order. As you might guess, D tier. The Aryan Brotherhood. Let's look at their leaders, starting with Guttram Wagner or Alexei Dobrovolsky. Alexei was born in 1938 and admired Stalin throughout his childhood and youth. When Stalin's personality cult was debunked in 1956, in his own words, "I drew the wrong conclusions from the Stalin's revelation and gradually became an opponent of Soviet system." Being an anti-communist in the USSR was difficult, and in 1958 he was sent to prison, where he met collaborators, followers of Vlasov, Ataman Krasnov and Shkuro. There he received an ideological boost for National Socialism. As you can imagine, to be a Nazi in the USSR you need either great courage or great stupidity. He certainly did not have courage, because already in the 60s, in order to shorten his sentence, Alexei gave away all his accomplices from the underground parties. So most likely he was stupid, but incredibly active. Between prison and mental hospital, he added Slavic paganism to his ideology. I have to admit, Dobrovolsky was ahead of his time, because in the 1990s such ideologies, in the conditions of collapse of communism, were becoming very popular. In the Russian Federation, Dobrovolsky organized neo-pagan societies. Alexei also introduced the term and meaning of the 8-rayed kolovrat, the Russian swastika. In short, he was a freak all his life and died in 2013. If the last guy seemed crazy to you, I'm afraid I have bad news. Valery Yemelyanov is next. He was born in 1929, graduated from a linguistic university and began working as a translator, while holding party position. His views were influenced by two facts. First, he was an expert in Arabic languages and communicated with high-ranking officials in the Arab world. Second, in the 1970s, he actively communicated with an anti-Semitic club, Russian Party. As a result, Yemelyanov became the main anti-Semite of the USSR. In the 1970s, Yemelyanov wrote a book, De-Zionization, first published in 1979 in Arabic in Syria in a newspaper Al-Ba'ath, on the order of Syrian President Hafez al-Assad. In 1977, Yemelyanov sent a report to the Central Committee, in which he claimed that all Soviet Jews were Zionist agents. In this regard, he demanded the introduction of mandatory course in scientific anti-Zionism and anti-Masonry in schools, universities and the army, the creation of the Scientific Institute for the Study of Zionism and Masonry under the Central Committee. His madness progressed, and now Yemelyanov began to accuse a wide range of people of Zionism, including the ruling elite headed by the General Secretary of the Central Committee, Leonid Brezhnev. As you understand, immediately after that, he was fired and expelled from the party. On April 10, 1980, Yemelyanov was arrested on charges of murdering and dismembering his wife with an axe, convicted, found insane with a diagnosis of schizophrenia, and placed in the Leningrad Special Psychiatric Hospital for 6 years. As you understand, Valery suspected his wife of having ties to Zionism. After leaving the mental hospital, he joined the neo-pagans. Naturally, I mean Alexei Dobrovolsky. He died in 1999. As for our tier list, I think A tier. Guys, thank you for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.